Baldwinsville, New York, a town like many others, modest, tight-knit, the kind of place where everybody knows everybody, where kids ride their bikes down quiet streets and neighbors wave as they pass by. But on the morning of January 20th, 2023, something unthinkable happened here. Behind the closed doors of a simple suburban home, a tragedy was unfolding, one that would leave a family shattered and a community in mourning. 14-year-old Ava Wood, a bright and beloved student, never made it to school that day. Her absence wasn't just unusual, it was alarming. As the sun rose over icy rooftops and school bells rang across town, Ava's mother made a frantic call to the police. What they found inside her father's house would haunt Baldwinsville forever. This isn't just the story of what happened that morning. It's the story of a beautiful life lost, of warning signs ignored, and of a broken system that failed to protect a child. This is the story of Ava Wood. Ava Wood was just 14 years old, but in those few years, she managed to light up the lives of everyone around her. She was a freshman at Durgee Junior High School, a bright student who teachers described as respectful, curious, and full of life. Ava loved to learn, but it wasn't just books or homework that defined her. She had a quick wit, a kind heart, and a quiet confidence that made her stand out without even trying. Outside of school, Ava was passionate about soccer. She played with determination and joy, always the kind of teammate who would cheer others on, whether she was scoring goals or sitting on the bench. Friends say she was the glue that held her circle together, loyal, funny, thoughtful. The kind of person who remembered your birthday or would sit with you if you were having a bad day. To her mother, Heather, Ava was everything: a best friend, a confidant, a reason to keep going, no matter how hard life became. The two were inseparable. Shopping trips, soccer games, movie nights. Their bond was deep and unconditional. And like most teenagers, Ava was just beginning to explore who she was. She had dreams, some small, some big. She talked about traveling, maybe becoming a teacher or working with animals someday. She had time, or at least she was supposed to. But not everything in Ava's world was peaceful. While she found joy at school and on the soccer field, life at home was becoming more complicated. After her parents separated, Ava had been dividing time between her mother and her father, Christopher Wood. At first, the arrangement seemed manageable, but behind the scenes, Christopher was struggling. Those close to the family described him as unstable, angry, and emotionally unpredictable. He had a documented history of mental health issues, including depression and paranoia. There were also past incidents, threatening behavior, aggressive outbursts, and concerns raised to authorities about his state of mind. Ava's mother, Heather, had grown increasingly worried, not just for herself, but for Ava. There were messages, disturbing texts sent by Christopher to both Ava and Heather. Some were manipulative, others dark and unsettling. He would say things like, "You'll regret this," and "If I can't have her, no one will." They were the kind of messages that make your stomach turn. But in a legal system that often protects parental rights over child safety, there was little Heather could do to keep Ava away. Even with these warning signs, Ava still loved her father. Like many kids in difficult family dynamics, she wanted peace. She wanted to believe he could be better. And so, when Ava agreed to spend the night at his house on January 19th, it didn't seem unusual. She'd done it before. No one knew it would be the last night of her life. The night of January 19, 2023 was bitterly cold in Baldwinsville. Snow clung to rooftops, and the streets were still. That evening, Ava packed her bag and went to her father's house, something she had done many times before. It seemed routine, quiet, ordinary, but as the sun dipped below the horizon, something in the air felt different. Inside the home on Lysander Road, all appeared calm from the outside, but behind those walls, tension simmered. There are no public records of what Ava and her father said to each other that night. No video, no audio, just unanswered questions. Did they talk? Did she sense anything was wrong? Or did she go to sleep thinking everything was fine? Ava texted her mother around 9:30 p.m., a brief, simple message. There was no hint of fear, no cry for help. It would be the last message she ever sent. Some reports suggest that earlier that week, Christopher had made unsettling statements to Ava, remarks that now read like red flags in hindsight. But in the moment, they were brushed aside, perhaps out of fear, perhaps out of hope that things wouldn't escalate. In the quiet of her room, Ava may have drifted off to sleep, never knowing what her father was planning, never knowing that just a few feet away, he had retrieved a shotgun from a locked cabinet, a weapon he legally owned. Sometime before morning, Ava Wood's life came to a tragic and violent end. She never even had the chance to cry out. On the morning of January 20th, 2023, the town of Baldwinsville began like any other. Kids bundled up for school, buses rolled through neighborhoods, the frost clung to windshields. But at the Wood residence on 43 Downer Street Road, something was very wrong. Ava didn't show up to class that morning. For her mom, Heather, that was the first red flag. Ava was always responsible, always on time, always checked in. A quiet panic set in. She called her daughter. No answer. She texted. Nothing. Then she made the decision no parent ever wants to make. She called the police and asked them to do a welfare check. When officers arrived at the home around 8 a.m., there were no signs of movement, no response. The house was still. They forced their way inside. What they found was devastating. There in her bedroom, they discovered Ava Wood, shot in the head as she slept. In another room, her father, Christopher Wood, dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. A murder-suicide, no note, no explanation. Just silence and unimaginable loss. Word of Ava's death spread quickly through the town. Students were pulled from classes. Teachers wept behind closed doors. The school went into lockdown, not for danger, but because grief had hit like a wave. A community that had always felt safe was suddenly shaken to its core. No one could believe it. No one wanted to.
Thank you, Ashley. As the police try to piece together the timeline in this case, we're learning more about 14-year-old Ava Wood. News Channel 9's Madison Moore is live outside of Durkee Junior High tonight with that part of our team coverage. Madison, what are you hearing about Ava?
Ryan, this junior high is where Ava Wood was a 9th grader. We're also learning tonight that she was an athlete. She was on the JV girls soccer team and their track and field team. Now, this picture that we got of Ava off the Baldwinsville website shows her on the soccer team. She was number 19, posing for their team photo. Aside from being an athlete, Ava was a high-achieving student, listed on the district's website as making the honor roll earlier in the school year. Acting Superintendent Joseph DeBarbery shared the tragic news with the school community in an email to parents this morning, saying in part, quote, "We are a close-knit school community and our hearts are broken by this tragedy. Our thoughts are with Ava's family and friends during this extremely difficult time." And the district's crisis response team was activated today, and counselors have been here at the junior high all evening. They actually just wrapped up. We saw a number of people walking out from that counseling. They're also going to be offering counseling services here at the junior high tomorrow and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. All after-school activities were canceled for today. Live in Baldwinsville tonight, Madison Moore, News Channel 9.
Tough story. Thank you, Madison. The district says any parents who feel their child needs additional support should call or email their school's principal.
The news of Ava's death sent shockwaves through Baldwinsville, a town that hadn't seen something this horrific in years, if ever. Durkee Junior High School, where Ava had walked the halls just days earlier, became a place of mourning. Her desk sat empty, her locker untouched. Counselors were brought in, teachers tried to stay strong. Students, some only 13 or 14, were forced to confront a level of grief far beyond their years. That evening, the community gathered. Hundreds of people, students, parents, teachers, neighbors, stood together in the freezing cold, candles in hand, tears in their eyes. They came not just to honor Ava, but to stand in solidarity with her mother, Heather, who had lost the most precious person in her life. There were posters with Ava's name, photos of her playing soccer, messages like "Fly High Ava" and "Forever in Our Hearts." One by one, people stepped up to speak. They talked about her kindness, her energy, her smile. One classmate said, "She was the kind of person who made everyone feel like they mattered." Even those who had never met Ava came to show support. That's what small towns do when they lose one of their own. The Baldwinsville Central School District issued a public statement calling Ava's death a heartbreaking loss to our school community. The district canceled all sports practices, and the community paused, not just in grief, but in reflection. People started asking deeper questions. How did this happen? Could it have been prevented? But for now, there was only silence and mourning. In the middle of it all was Heather, Ava's mother, now navigating a grief no parent should ever endure. But even in her darkest hour, she showed strength. She asked the community to remember Ava not for how she died, but for how she lived. And they did.
School is paying tribute to Ava.
Ava Wood is being remembered for so many things. Those who knew her say she was loving, caring, and energetic.
One of the great things that we do is right here, this wall that's here behind me. The students have written little messages to Ava.
The words, "We miss you, Ava," "I love you, Ava," and "Rest easy." Just a few of the messages students have left on the Remembering Ava wall, found inside Durgee Junior High, where she was a 9th grade student.
We also have a tribute that in another part of the school that the students chose an area to tribute with some pictures and different memories.
Photos of Ava, messages from her classmates and teammates, an area full of love.
Her colors are red, purple, and fluorescent pink are the 3 colors. So everything we do, we try to do each day. We've been trying to honor her with those colors.
On top of honoring and remembering her, the Baldwinsville School District is taking care of students and staff, making sure resources are available.
Every counselor in the district has been available if needed to come support students, staff, and any person that needs that support in the building.
Fryer says just in the last few days, the support he's seen has been unbelievable, with a message to students and staff.
We have each other.
In Baldwinsville, Ashley Gaffaro, News Channel 9.
Ava Wood's story is heartbreaking. But even more heartbreaking, she's not alone. In the United States, more than 4.5 million women have reported being threatened with a gun by an intimate partner. And when children are involved, the danger multiplies. Ava wasn't just a victim of one man's violence. She was a casualty of a larger system, one where warning signs are ignored, mental health crises go untreated, and firearms remain accessible even after red flags are raised. Let's be clear, there were signs. Christopher Wood had a known history of instability. He'd made disturbing comments, sent threatening messages. Ava's mother, Heather, had raised alarms. But still, there was no restraining order, no firearm removal, no intervention. Why? Because in many states, including New York, family court is slow to act, and laws around gun ownership, even in volatile family situations, are often filled with loopholes. And that's what makes Ava's death feel so painfully avoidable. If someone had listened, if someone had stepped in, if one law had been stronger, maybe she would still be here. But the truth is, murder-suicides like this one happen all too often, usually in homes, behind closed doors, in places that are supposed to feel safe. In 2023 alone, hundreds of children across the U.S. lost their lives in acts of domestic gun violence. And in many of those cases, the killer was someone they knew, someone they trusted, a parent. Every month in America, an average of 70 women are shot and killed by an intimate partner. In more than half of mass shootings, the perpetrator targeted family. Ava's story is not just a tragedy, it's a wake-up call. We need better laws, better support for survivors, better ways to protect children caught in the crossfire of adult violence. Because no child should go to sleep in fear, and no parent should have to bury their daughter because the system failed to act. Thank you for taking the time to hear Ava's story. If this touched you, please consider sharing it, because her voice deserves to be heard. And if you'd like to see more stories that matter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Together, we can honor the ones we've lost and protect the ones still with us.